Sunday worship, a harmless tradition or a deadly deception? Is your worship based on truth or a lie? Millions of Christians gather every Sunday believing they are honoring God. Churches are full, sermons are preached, and songs are sung, yet there's one uncomfortable truth that almost no one is willing to confront. Is Sunday worship truly from God, or is it the greatest religious deception in history? Could it be that something so widely accepted is actually a direct violation of God's law? And if it is, then Sunday worship isn't just a harmless tradition, it's a deadly deception that leads millions away from God's truth. Let's investigate what the Bible really says and challenge the traditions that have replaced the clear commandments of God. Step 1. The Bible's standard for worship. To answer this question, we must go to the foundation, God's law. Exodus 20:8-11. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. The seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. God did not bless a day of your choosing. He sanctified the seventh day. This commandment was written in stone by God's own finger, unchangeable, eternal. Nowhere in Scripture does God command Sunday as the new day of worship. Step 2. Jesus and the apostles kept the seventh-day Sabbath. Jesus himself honored the Sabbath. Luke 4:16. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. After Jesus' resurrection, his followers continued keeping the Sabbath. Acts 17:2. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them. Acts 13:42-44. Gentiles begged Paul to preach again on the next Sabbath. There is not one verse where Jesus or his apostles changed the Sabbath or taught Sunday observance. Step 3. Where did Sunday worship come from? If it's not from Jesus or the Bible, then where did Sunday worship begin? 1. The pagan influence. Sun worship. The first day of the week was known in the Roman world as the Day of the Sun, a day dedicated to worshipping the sun god. 2. Constantine's Sunday law, 321 AD. On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest. This was not a Christian law. It was a political move to unite pagans and Christians. 3. Church councils enforced it. 364 AD. Council of Laodicea. Christians must not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath, but must work on that day, rather honoring the Lord's day. The Church outlawed Sabbath-keeping and commanded Sunday worship. 4. The Catholic Church claims authority. Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible. Catholic Record, September 1, 1923. Of course, the Catholic Church claims that the change was her act. Cardinal Gibbons. Sunday worship was established by man-made tradition, not by God. Step 4. Why it's not harmless. Jesus warned about worshipping in vain. Mark 7:7-8. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men. If you worship God based on man's tradition rather than his commandments, your worship is in vain. And worse, you could be aligning with the final end-time deception. Revelation 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Only those who keep God's commandments, including the Sabbath, will stand in the last days. Step 5. Challenge to skeptics and believers. If Sunday worship is from God, then show us one verse where God changed the Sabbath to Sunday, one verse where Jesus commanded Sunday worship, One verse where the apostles declared Sunday as the Lord's day. You won't find it. The truth is simple and eternal. The Sabbath is the seventh day. God never changed it. Sunday worship is not harmless, it's a deadly deception. Now that you know, what will you do?